Well, here we are again, another Game of Thrones review. Last time we were on this, it absolutely broke my heart. What's going to happen now? We'll see. What is up, everyone? What's going on? House of the Seahawks here, and welcome back, well, to actually the name that actually inspired this House of the Dragon. I thought it'd be kind of cool with House of the Seahawks, though, um, yeah, maybe along the way I can shorten it down to Hots. So just, yeah. But it will ultimately be House of the Dragon, where yeah, like where you have like, for example, like a guy like urinating tree whenever he gets like a name, um, picks up like a sponsor and shortens down the tree for the promo code. So or the I'll figure that stuff out. So yeah, House of the Dragon season one. I did put out a little clip. I put out a little clip of my episode one review, and then I of course filmed my reaction to the Terrell wedding because with everything going on, I was like, this is gonna end badly, and I'm like, let's see what's gonna happen. So yeah, I didn't time that right. I had never seen it before, but I could tell something bad was gonna happen. So those are the only two things I've done. I actually finished it quite a while ago, but I've never really had time to actually like uh film my review for it though. Will I be doing that for season two? I might. But yeah, I got me some notes. You can't see them very well, but but yeah. Now right away, this video is going to get split into two parts though because this was very complex. There's a lot of stuff going on. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going with the first 5 episodes, and then we're going to go to the last like 6 through 10 episodes. How long is this going to last? I don't know, but maybe it's going to be a little bit shorter, maybe a little more accessible to some other people though. But but yeah, but the reason why I'm doing that is because, of course, after episode five, that's where the time jump happened, like the big time jump where they have to replace some of the well, basically just the two actresses. So, but yeah, Matt Smith he doesn't age, along with Viserys and Otto Hightower. There's a lot of people that don't really age very much in the show. But yeah, let's get into it though. What did I think about it, though? Me personally, I did enjoy it quite a bit. I don't know if this was just me, but I did feel like that I wasn't super invested into it, though I still enjoy it, don't get me wrong. But I just don't think I enjoyed it as much. And I'm not sure if that was because by the time when I was watching I was really busy. And then also just the fact that the final season of Game of Thrones just broke my heart, just really infuriated me. And like I just even though I knew House of the Dragon was good, or I had heard it was good, I just didn't really I didn't have like a rush to see it though because of the way that ended. So I don't know if that was because of so I don't know if it was because of the final season of Game of Thrones, or it was the fact that this is kind of a spin-off though, and I kind of have some mixed feelings about spin-off shows because I feel like sometimes they can be a bit of a cash grab where I mean this is kind of for Star Wars though, where they're like, hey, people like this, let's do more of it though, but it's just not as good. So that's kind of my thoughts. But don't get me wrong, it was still pretty good though. It definitely was better than seasons 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones. But if I had to put in the ranking though, I think I would probably have to put it somewhere like in the middle-ish though, probably near the bottom though. But I will say I do have hope that season two can be really good. I still haven't read the books yet, so I do think season two can be really really good because of the way that it ended though. I'll get into that in a little bit though. So so just I said it for my episode one review. You can go check that out on my channel. Um, I would put it up in the link in the description up there, but I don't know how to do it yet. We're gonna try. We're gonna work on it. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if no one trusts me now. Um, but um, but but yeah, you have episode one where of course Viserys, who probably was my favorite character, episode 8 proved that, though we'll get into that later on. Actually, we'll get into that next video because yeah. So but yeah, Viserys is happily married, which is a rarity in Game of Thrones. He has a daughter named Rhaenyra, but then he of course has his pregnant wife, and Viserys is really really hoping for a son because he's hoping that his son will inherit the Iron Throne, because in Westeros' history, no woman has ascended to the Iron Throne, because I believe the very first person to ascend, the first woman to ascend the Iron Throne was Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones season 6, which technically George R. R. Martin, I'm not sure if he put that in or not though, but yeah, that of all the things David and Dan did good, season 6 was definitely one of them. Just I remember saying I had a couple nitpicks though, but honestly, when I look back at season 6, I just remember the good stuff though. So, but we'll get into that. So the fact of Rhaenyra ascending to Iron Throne is a little weird. And then even you have House Valerian, who I can't remember the other woman's name though. Just it takes me a little while to remember characters. But yeah, it was basically between her and Viserys, which apparently they are cousins. Gets a little incestual later on. And Viserys overtrumps her because he is a male. So Viserys really, really wants a son, and he's not. But I think the thing that is very interesting is he doesn't want a son because he doesn't love his daughter. He loves his daughter, but he's trying to look to the future. He's like, I don't know if they're gonna accept Rhaenyra very well if I name her my heir. And just as I said back and just as I said back in my episode 1, where obviously it doesn't go well and Viserys' wife and child die. And now I did find out from the Honest trailer that apparently the writers were supposed to tone back the sexual violence though, but apparently they didn't really care about the fact of like, oh, let's have violent births, because yeah, everyone we're gonna show is gonna be very graphic and gruesome. So yeah, so the wife and child die, and because of that, Viserys has no other options, so he names Rhaenyra as the king's heir. I was about to say Hand of the King. No, honestly, she'd probably be better than Otto Hightower. And then yeah, but since Viserys is still a young guy, he's kind of been told, hey, he's kind of been told, it's probably best you marry again, just in case, because you only have one kid. And so his best option would be the Valerian son, except for the fact that this is like a 12-year-old girl. So Viserys is like, no, I'm not going to do this. So instead, I'm going to go marry Rhaenyra's best friend, Alicent, who, when he announces this, she had no idea that apparently Alicent had been comforting him. That's the way Otto Hightower says, though. So he marries her. And right away, this is kind of where everything just goes downhill between the relationship between these two friends. And I think that's the thing that's very interesting about Viserys, is that so sometimes he's not always smart in his decision making, though, and we'll get more into that later on. Actually, in this video and next video, where he'll kind of like brush off. Where he'll brush off rumors that are going on in his town, or he'll demote someone and then instantly promote them back up again later on, though. Or just I said, like Daemon, though. Daemon gets kicked out of King's Landing because he was making dead baby jokes, which, yeah, shame on you. Don't do that, though. Which I thought right away Daemon was going to be one of those guys that, like, oh, we hate him the most, though. No, he actually turned out to be one of my favorite characters in the show, which was kind of fun. Yeah, he was a ton of fun in the show. And then of course in episode 4, Daemon gets welcomed back and then instantly gets kicked out right away. But ooh, so yeah. Um, but but yeah, but like the thing that was a constant for me throughout the show is that the House Valerian just keeps getting robbed from the Iron Throne be because well yeah I gotta remember some of these people's names here. Hang on, I think I got it. So where you have Rhaenys and then of course Corlys, Rhaenys being the one I think that's how you say it. I just pulled up I just googled House of the Dragon characters so I could remember some. I do remember some names, but just to say it has been a little while since I've seen it though. But um, but yeah, like that would be their kids. So they that Viserys would marry their 12-year old girl, and but then a part of their house could still ascend to the Iron Throne. So they're like, okay, we're getting the best out of this that we can. So then when he chooses Alicent, they're like, bruh, we keep getting robbed of of the power of Westeros. And so and so then right after this is then where we get a little bit of a time jump though, and where he has his son, his first son, which I believe his first son was Aegon, which I'll get into that in a little bit though. But yeah, but no, even with the son, Rhaenyra is still named heir, and this is where I felt like the fun part of the show was in episode 3, where episode 3 was probably one of my least favorite episodes. It wasn't bad though; it just wasn't as good though, because this was the episode of the crab feeder though. I felt like it was a little overhyped. It was said to be like this big battle though, and Daemon kind of rushes in. For some reason, they don't kill him, and then he gets killed off screen. That's where I felt like the writing wasn't as good though, but like not a bad episode. But then of course right after that, then that's when he then gets welcomed back in. And but um but yeah, kind of back to what I was saying though. So this is where you get kind of the fun of the show, where you have Jason Lannister, who I think that is Tywin's great great grandfather, something like that. I know he's not just the grandfather. He's a great great grandfather because it's 2,000 years before. This is about 2,000 years before Daenerys. So obviously there's probably way more greats in there than that though. But just as said, but yeah, basically he's like, I'm Jason Lannister. I was like, hey, I'm like that's one of Tywin's great grandfathers. That's so cool to kind of throw that in there, and they try to and of course Viserys is kind of like, hey, Rhaenyra, to kind of keep the line going, to prepare for the future though, you gotta marry, and she's like, nope, don't want to marry, and just that's kind of the coolness and complexity of the show, where some of the things Viserys is doing, normally that would sound bad though, where I mean like cutting a hole in your wife though, of course the stuff with Otto Hightower trying to marry his daughter, he's not doing it because he's this mean terrible person. Just say he's like he was my favorite character in the show. The way it goes down, it shows it in a way where it's like he's doing this to prepare for the future because he's dying. And I'm not really sure what he was dying of. I'm not sure if it was the Iron Throne that was like cutting him, or just he's had this weird disease where his body parts are falling off and stuff. Just I don't know, just something's wrong with him. I feel like that stuff was a little underdeveloped because I was like, wait, I'm like, what's going on with him? And then like as it goes along, he's like losing more and more body parts. And then when you get to the big time jump, he's like, I mean, I lost an arm, but I'm fine. And it's like, how are you fine? But yeah, just oh well. Yeah. So then you get into episode 4, and this is kind of where the yeah, but things kind of get a little incestual, where Daemon gets welcomed back, and the first thing he does, actually one of the first things he does, is he brings Rhaenyra into a brothel, and he almost rapes her in there. So yeah, incest, woohoo, yay, it's back. not usually the fun part of the show. And yeah, but then Otto Hightower, Hand of the King, um, he's got spies out there. One of his spies tells him that, hey, the king's daughter and brother, they were caught in a brothel. So yeah, he tells Viserys. Viserys is like, yep, kicks out. Rhaenyra kind of denies everything, although as soon as she gets back, she then ends up banging her guard, Kristen Cole, which that is illegal. Though, so she kind of works around that lie and tells Viserys, "Hey, where did you hear this from?" And Viserys is like, "Oh, I heard it from my Hand of the King. I can't trust him anymore. Otto, you're fired. Get out of here." And and the thing that was very interesting about Otto Hightower is yes, well, there were times he was pulling the strings of things, while there were times he was doing stuff that was like, dude, what are you doing? You not liking you very much though. He could also see that Aegon will be better received than Rhaenyra. So he's trying to find a way to get Aegon on the throne, not just because he's his grandson, which, I mean, that's just a double bonus for him, though. But also to be like, hey, Aegon will be better accepted than Rhaenyra. He's also thinking to the future, but he's thinking in a different way. And so yeah, so then because of that, so because she was caught in a brothel, that's where Viserys is like, okay, enough is enough, you're getting married. And this is where we're going to get into my last episode for now. We'll cut away. It will look like nothing ever happened. Do I have time for that? Oh, yeah, plenty of time. And yeah, the only thing I have written here is wedding is terrible. And right away, I knew that there were many moving parts in all this that made me go, oh, this is not going to be a good wedding. Because the oldest Valyrian, what's the name? Lenor, didn't remember his name. I had to look him up though. Lenor and Rhaenyra are supposed to get married, and Rhaenyra's like, "Yeah, dude, I know you're gay. I don't want to be doing this stuff, but let's just play along, though." So yeah, Lenor's like, "Sweet, I get to keep my boyfriend, who just happens to be named Joffrey." We'll get into that a little bit though, and so yeah, so Joffrey and Lenor, they're okay with being secret boyfriends, and Kristen Cole, who loves Rhaenyra, he's not okay with being the third wheel. He's like, I don't want to be your secret wife. I want to be your wife. And Rhaenyra's like, yeah, that obviously is not going to happen though. And just all along the way, just Viserys is just kind of like ignoring this though. And then of course, like as the wedding's about to begin though, of course Alicent walks in with her green dress, which apparently that is like a symbol for war, which basically proves that like, hey, Rhaenyra, our friendship, it's over. When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. There are no friends here. I know that's not how the line goes, but that's just what I'm going with. And so yeah, so the wedding, so at first the wedding's going well, but the way it plays out, it's like, yeah, you know this is going to be bad. You know this is not going to end well. And sure enough, it doesn't, because then Joffrey kind of eggs Kristen on, and then Kristen Cole brutally kills him in front of everyone by, I think, punching him so hard that he puts a hole in his face, though, which... The thing that was really funny about that is because I'm like, I'm sure that's what every game of... I'm sure that's what the audience wanted to do to Joffrey, like, the entire show. So the fact that he just got punched to death, though, I mean, that's definitely like oh, geez, like, oh, man, that guy's dead. Kristen Cole, yeah, dude, you're in the doghouse, though he just suffers no consequences for his actions, though. But then it's also like, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do to Joffrey around Game of Thrones, which is really funny. But yeah, wedding is not very good, and then obviously Kristen Cole gets friend zoned pretty hard. So there's that problem for him.